Okay, this is this. And I guess I was going to make a different type of video, but after realizing that I was talking too much about other things, I decided to make this video instead about, just me talking stuff. I make a lot of these videos. But anyways, there's lots of things that's been going on. First of all, the new employee over at Microsoft, I mean, the new head of the Xbox division. Sorry, I had to take a glass there. But, anyways, I don't care if she's a woman or not. That doesn't mean shit to me. I don't like her credentials. I mean, yeah, she's a programmer, but she knows absolutely nothing about video games. And literally, she was mainly doing office work and all this other stuff with Office. And no, I don't think she's a good choice. And it's mainly her past job that I don't think that she's a good choice for this. For her being a female and all, I wouldn't. That's honestly secondary to me, and I don't really give a flying rat's ass what sex or if they're even a hermaphrodite. I wouldn't give a shit. I mean, if they have good enough credentials, I'm happy to have them on board. I mean, the new guy who's the CEO of Sony, he's a really good guy. Kazuo Rai, I believe is his name. I could be wrong, but if you guys check your record, the person that he took over is the the Kazuo Rai is the current CEO, but the past CEO just before him, um, when Kazuo Rai basically whose seat he took over, that guy was really bad for Sony, and the main reason was that he was a record producer and mostly doing music and producing songs. And they put him in charge of an entire Sony altogether, along with their tech departments and their entertainment departments, and they suffered as a result. And he just was not well qualified at all, and he was putting people who just didn't know what they were doing into the wrong fields because when you have no experience within certain fields, you could really screw up an entire industry. And what almost happened with Sony was proof of that. And there was, and that's just the way I feel about this new person in the Xbox, who's now head of the whole Xbox. Is just Microsoft is running out of people, so now they're throwing in more and more less experienced people who are not experienced at all in these fields in there. Like because she's replacing Don Matrick, who most Xbox drones are out downright Nintendo haters are saying, "Oh no, he left. He left. Microsoft said he left. So we're gonna go believe the Microsoft PR crap." No, 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 no. He was bluntly fired, and it was fucking obvious, just like what happened to Adam Oates. They both basically shot their mouths off, made insanely bad decisions, and tried to put some DRM that would never work under Xbox, Microsoft, and try to force it down everybody's throats, and then in their meetings would say, "Hey, look, this is the future. Accept the future. What, you hate the future? Fuck you." And they just had the worst PR. I understand she has good PR though. She'll probably succeed in that, but I don't know about the rest of the decisions. But we'll see. And I mean, she'll end up having experience after this, but we'll see. And other news. Oh yeah, and Sony is going to allow you to share games and stuff, which on their PlayStation Network, which is good. They're basically doing this in an attempt at Microsoft, who's not really share video games. I'm sorry, I meant their digital games or more digital libraries. We can already share their non-digital library, downloadable digital library, and they're doing this as an attempt to go against Microsoft's little family sharing program that they destroyed after after they got rid of the DRMs, and everybody's like, "Oh, Microsoft got rid of such a great idea." And now and then of course Microsoft saying, you can't run this unless you have those internet checks in, which is a load of bullshit. But anyways, yeah, and of course I've been saying it with my iOS and Android phones. You don't need constant internet checking in, and I can prove it easily with my iPod Touch. It's not even that much of a contest anymore. But anyways, um, they they're able to share games digitally between other PlayStation with some downsides that I think will be fixed through the updates, and hopefully fixed a little bit down on the road. But yeah, Sony's doing a much more better job than Microsoft is on a lot of their delivery systems and shit. And a lot of people, I mean, a lot of people out there are saying this, including myself, is that Microsoft lost perspective of who they were, and I believe that more case than one, but it's more than that, and and it's talking from someone who's dealt with Microsoft bullshit for years, and I mean I've dealt with some of the dumbest bullshit from Microsoft for years. Microsoft does tend to get full of itself very, very quickly, and they tend to let their own egos just take complete and utter control of everything. And this is why we have such bad operating systems from Microsoft, down to just outright idiotic business practice to the, Internet Explorer mess. And they really need to cut this bullshit out. It's been destroying their company, and it's getting irritating, and they've already alienated a good portion of their fan base. Yes, Amazon finally sold out on Xbox One after a long while, which is not much of a surprise now that the whole DRM messes are gone. And but yeah, I mean, let's not forget that when Microsoft had the whole DRM and shit up, they couldn't get rid of not one of their launch day consoles, and it was a mess. And of course, then they finally did it, and it worked. But of course, it worked because most customers out there can be dumb and really stupid, or just out flat out believe that like what Mick Romney says, companies are businesses too. Yeah, right. Um, Coming from a guy who pretty much butchered more companies out there, and Daily Show even said it, that if he said what was true, if Mick Romney said what was true, he would be a fucking mass murderer by now. But if Microsoft was a person as well, apparently this person is the most misogynistic person I've ever seen, who seems to want to be high up one minute and then the next minute would love to be in some sort of ditch, just being randomly kicked by unknown people for no fucking reason whatsoever. Just fucking disturbing. But is this kind of admitted new shit that I've seen from Microsoft before, and I wasn't really shocked when I saw this coming out of Microsoft, with the whole DRM mess. Of course, I was shocked when Microsoft was announcing the DRM, and yeah, what a fucking disaster that turned into. But we'll see with the whole sharing program. And in my honest opinion, I do see that Sony sharing program, which is superior to Xbox, will get better in time. Right now, it's kind of bullshit, but time will tell. And on my last note, more like a discussion really, the PlayStation 4 controller. I was talking to a few people here and there, both online and offline, and I found out that the PlayStation 4 controller, well, I didn't find out, it's just, I kind of forgot that it was there, but the PlayStation 4 controller has a speaker. And a lot of people, one particular person I was discussing, who was not online, said, "Well, it's got a headphone jack, and they're gonna come shipped with a headset," which is true. This is true, and it is. But when I looked on the internet, I found a speaker. And it's like, there it is. And goes, well, why are they having a speaker in that as well? And in my honest opinion, I think Sony, when they created the PlayStation 4 controller, was trying to create their version of the Wiimote Mach 2, or at least the Sony Remote Mach 2. The Mach 1 was the Move controller, which has still been a massive disaster over at Sony, and it's been a complete utter joke. And I believe they probably would have succeeded if not for the simple fact that Sony grew a brain and realized that, Microsoft was pulling out this $500 machine and they could destroy Microsoft by just taking that PlayStation 9 and removing it. And because it was just stupid. I think what's going to happen is as updates come along that they're going to just make the eye more and more. And yes, I know that they were going to use that stupid color bar on the end of their controller for with the move with the PlayStation Eye. Of course, those plans have long been scrapped. But I think as updates come along, we're going to see that bar being more like a health indicator and stuff like that, which it's probably much more of a better idea to go with. Even though I think, and then maybe as the future gets along and we see more iterations of the PS4, we'll just see the bar completely removed. Because Gabe Newell said it better. It's right now the whole idea of accessories and trying to add motion controls to everything is dead, and it's just dying harder. And it's just better to concentrate on the more traditional controllers for now until you know the motion controls just isn't so saturated anymore. And he had a point when he said that, because yeah, the motion controls are getting saturated beyond all fucking belief. But when I say the Wiimote Mach 2, they put a that speaker on the controller, and of course, in that feature, I think it's going to be staying forever. And before you guys go all shit crazy, probably trying to own PlayStation and all, don't forget the original Nintendo Entertainment System, the Famicom, had a microphone on one of the controllers. But, and I don't want to do any Nintendo bashing, but the one thing I do not understand about Nintendo right now, and this is, and you can easily find this in all the Wii U's, and as well as the Wii's. The Wiimote has a speaker. So does the new gamepad has a speaker, but the Wii U Pro Controller Pro does not. That new, I mean, it's a really nice controller. I got one myself over here, but it doesn't have a speaker on it. And you know, with all their other controllers having speakers, I kind of find it ass backwards that Nintendo would literally go backwards in their own technology for the extra controllers, and it's just weird. Fine, they won't have fine, it won't have a gyroscope, but at least they could have put some speakers onto the damn thing, and maybe some analog triggers. I mean, the triggers on the Pro controller is nice, but you know, the race car people keep complaining about it for some reason. But we'll see as time does go on. But yeah, I really do think as Sony was trying to create the Wiimote 2, or the next sensation of the Wiimote. And as far as and yeah, they completely fucked up. I don't really think Sony should have really tried. I mean, adding the speaker was an okay touch, but it really means nothing. And of course, they got that touchpad on there. And by the way, the entire touchpad is the start button. It's one big giant fucking button. You'll never miss the start button ever again. Just press that giant big old pad down. It's kind of, like the Magic Mouse. It's like one large button. It's pretty much in the same concept. Yeah. So that was a bit weird that Sony did that. Uh, but yeah, it. So anybody who's going to complain about speakers being put on video gaming devices and all that, and on their controllers and say that they're completely useless. And yeah, I've talked about this with a few people, and some people actually argued and thought it was an actual merit complaint. Well, most of them shut up as soon as I told them about Sony and what was going on with their Sony, that they're going to have a speaker on them. And yeah, they shut up pretty fucking fast. Uh, Especially the Sony fanboys. But like I said, Sony's PlayStation 4 is looking more and more like a better machine. Yeah, they took out some features which I can give a rat's ass, and yeah, it'll probably be a little buggy. But for all the shit they're giving you, they're still giving it to you at a better price than what the Xbox One, Microsoft is giving to you for the Xbox One is. I mean, Microsoft is giving you all this stuff and not a very good price point, neither. And they're adding in a whole pack of features, and their tech is not even that good except in the connect with the whole night vision and all that shit. But yet, here's Sony. They don't have a connect, but they got better hardware and their controller is giving you all these extra features, but yet it's cheaper. So I'm pretty much determined to think that Sony will pretty much become the winner of this. And it's already becoming more and more self-evident that it is, and it's just nothing's going to hold that back. It's just Sony put themselves out there, presented themselves better, did everything else better, and it's like that. I keep saying to the Xbox little fanboys out there, you know, like that Halo game that Microsoft brought out. They later ended up announcing, oh, that's probably not going to be Halo 5. It's probably going to be a remake of another Halo game, or just some other different type of Halo game. Master Chief, and it's just like, really, you really just dropped everything really badly. I mean, you're right up there with Nintendo, Microsoft. Hell, I think Microsoft almost surpassed Nintendo's clusterfucks with the Wii U. I mean, yeah, I admit Nintendo's Wii U presentation was bad, but this Xbox One presentation is so much worser and worse, and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And yeah, Xbox, go home.